Fine Feminist Hour on the Daily Whatever Show. I am Dana DuBois, and this is not Lawrence Winterman, y'all. In case you couldn't tell, it is Fine Feminist Hour now every Thursday on the Daily Whatever Show, which means Lawrence cedes the floor to me to bring in some of my favorite feminist firebrands. And today we have Ariel Meadow Stallings joining us. Ariel, it is so awesome to see you.
Thank you so much for having me, although this 7 a.m. start time it's a little diabolical, Dana.
Girl, I do this 4 days a week now. It used to be 5, but now Lawrence has his own show on Mondays, his Not Straightforward show. So I get 1 day to sleep in this much. But yeah, I don't know what I was thinking with the start time on the West Coast, but actually I do. It's so I can do it before I go into work and before I get my kids to school.
Perfect. Well, I love you because I'm here.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I love you too. Gen X multi-hyphenates. We both are doing all the things. Ariel, today we're going to be talking about love, specifically Gen X midlife love, or maybe midnight love. I don't know. We're midlife. We're not up at midnight all the time. Though I was last night, hence the hoarse voice. It was I sang karaoke last night for the first time in a long time for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're up at midnight if there's a hot flash.
It can happen. I'm a night owl by nature, so are my kids. So we are frequently up that late, which is foolish and undisciplined, but I don't know. We're creatives. We're not very disciplined people, but we're going to be talking about love. It's not the same kind of conversation, though, that you're going to see bouncing around every day on TikTok and Reels and all of those things. We each wrote an essay this week, and we have shared our essays with each other. And we didn't know what they were going to be about when we booked the show. And we kind of wrote the yin and yang of essays, like they're total opposites. And it's going to be a fascinating conversation because on the one side, I am talking about attachment frameworks, pattern recognition, protecting yourself. And on your side, you are talking about voluminous love and how to be open to love of all kinds. And kind of, I pictured it like, don't squeeze at this too hard. Be open and receptive to all kinds of love. It's a beautiful essay. In fact, let me come in here and join the chat. I believe that Karen is probably here and sharing it in the chat, but I am going to come join it as well. Hello, all. Oh, hi, Karen. I see you in there. Okay. Let me grab the link. And while I'm grabbing the link, and before I grab the link, I need to introduce you because y'all, Ariel Meadow Stallings is a force of nature. You are not on Substack primarily. You have a teeny tiny account. And so that may give the deceptive impression that you're new, and you are not new at all. Ariel is a writer, a publisher, founder of Offbeat Empire, author of Offbeat Bride from way back in the day, which became the Offbeat Empire. Your work has reached millions. You also formerly of Medium, I have to put that out there, like former director of publishing and product on Medium. So a lot of us know you from your days there, where I like to say you were there during the good days. You were the one who made Ariel. You were the one who made Medium this incredible community where writers could actually thrive. And it's been hard to see that roll away since you left. But anything I'm missing? Would you like to introduce yourself to the chat while I go grab this link and put it in there?
I don't think you missed anything. I am the author of 3 books, but also the publisher of many websites. The biggest one used to be called Offbeat Bride, but then we degendered it, and now it's Offbeat Wed. I'm also, I've done my time in the tech trenches, Amazon, Microsoft, Jobster, where Dana and Lawrence and I worked together 20 years ago.
Oh my God, inch by inch, Ariel.
Oh my gosh, inch by inch. And now I am acting as a consultant. I'm still running my publications. But I'm also spending a lot of time doing consulting for small businesses and indie publishers. So yeah, I hit 50 and decided 50 was the right age to become a consultant.
Oh my
Uh,
God.
and still doing all of my writing as well. So it's a, as you said, multi hyphenate living, and part of being Gen X in media and tech is just constantly adapting. And you know that as well as anyone, Dana.
So true. And this is not our topic of conversation today, but because you just said that, I've been having some really interesting conversations the last few weeks with same age peers as ours who have worked in um, similar spaces. The ones I've been talking to are all at kind of the big ones here, Microsoft, Amazon. And I'm hearing this sense of um, like being done with working for someone else, being done with um, kind of the grind of it. And at the core of it, AI is sitting there of like, I know it's interesting, I'm using it personally, but the leap to integrate AI and kind of shift everything I've been doing at work for the last 30 years for them is like a click too many. And they're just like, peace out.
Yep.
And there are so many elements of that I can relate to, but I am not in a position to be like, so I'm just going to retire now and just write and publish all the time, as fun as that would be.
Yep.
Do you feel that sense? As you joked that at 50 you could be a consultant, you decided it was time to be a consultant. Do you feel that sense of like, man, I just don't want the grind anymore?
I am over the grind, but I also see that learning is part of neuroplasticity. It's part of how we
Uh-huh.
stay mentally nimble and agile. And it
Yes.
may be that navigating an ever shifting landscape of tech platforms is
Yeah.
Gen X's Sudoku. You know what I mean? Like the boomers are
It's
like,
our
I do my
Jenga.
crosswords. Like I gotta keep nimble. And for us, it's like, the platforms that we grew up with in the 90s stopped
Yeah.
existing in the O's, then it shifted in the 10s. Now it's completely different. It went from
Yep.
newspapers and magazines and alt weeklies to websites and blogs to social media platforms to algorithms to AI large language
SEO to
models. Yeah.
GEO. Oh
So
my God, you're so
I
right.
think I see I don't need to grind. I don't want to work 60-hour weeks
Yes.
anymore. Been there, done that. No need for the burnout. And I do see that adapting is part of staying nimble and always learning. So no grind, but still adapting for sure.
100%. And I should say that the people, there's two people top of mind who I've had this conversation with, are like super adaptable with AI and other tools. It's more that sense of doing it for the man. And I think
Yeah.
there's a part of that. We know that like corporations as a whole are insisting on AI integration and using it to be more efficient, but with no guidance. And we know that
Yeah.
we have to figure it out on our own for their purposes so they can work us out. And
Yeah.
it's like such a grind. Like, and I am not out of it. I probably shouldn't be saying all of this on air, but I'm still in my head thinking of it as Sudoku. Because
Yes.
you're right,
Yeah.
my mom gets up and does all the New York Times crossword puzzles and the wordles and the connections. She doesn't play Sudoku, but effectively that
Yep.
is her.
This is our version.
Oh my God, I love that, and I'm definitely going to have that sit with me. Speaking of things that are sitting with me, segue, your essay on voluminous love kind of blew my mind. It's I know Karen has put it in the chat. It is a long read, and it just came out. So and it's not on Substack. So I'm guessing very few folks in the audience have read this one yet. I advise you all go read it. I just joined Beehive so that I could read it. It's beautiful. Can you give a quick summary before we jump into the conversation about the like
Yeah.
key talking points you would want our audience to know about this story and what motivated you to write it?
Yeah, I think all of us who are out here in these trenches, trying to find love and companionship, all
Mhm.
have the same goal, which is that we want to experience love daily, right? Like that's why do we date? Why do
Mhm.
we try and connect with each other? We're trying to find our ways to feeling more love. We want more love in our lives.
Yeah.
And so for me, I don't have control over when I'm going to meet a lover or a
Mhm.
companion or a long-term partner. But using this philosophy, basically, I can ensure that I feel love every single day. So, it's a voluminous love is this kind of philosophical framework and spiritual practice that starts from the premise that we've turned love into a risk management problem, right? I feel so much like
Yes.
that's what your essay touches on is we need
Yes.
to protect ourselves, we need to minimize exposure to pain, we need to manage
Hmm.
our vulnerability. And that strategy works. I mean, I'm the queen of hypervigilance. That strategy works kind of, except for in avoiding grief, right? And the loss that comes with
Yeah.
disconnecting from people. We've cut ourselves off from the full experience of loving. So we have uh, created these safety mechanisms that ultimately become a cage. And the idea that I've been practicing for the last couple years and have found just huge expansive joy in is so starting by recognizing that romantic love is just one flavor of love, right? We know this from bell hooks. And
Yes.
actually love is everywhere and it's abundant. It's in our friendships, our neighborhoods, time in nature. And then the second thing is we have to accept that grief is love.
Yes.
It's a healthy and normal expression of the human experience. It's not evidence that something went wrong. Um, so like the pain of grief or heartbreak isn't a malfunction. That's
Right.
actually your human heart doing exactly what it's meant to do. Um, and that means that when it feels right and a human is there to love, we can love them fully because we know that they're not our only access point to love. We've practiced experiencing love every day because we recognize it's part of our life, it's part of our world, it's part of how we move through the world, it's what animates us. And then when and if we lose that love, either because a relationship ends or because Dana, you and I have both been in long term partnerships, you know that even in a long term partnership, love comes and goes. We have days where we are so frustrated with our partner and that feels
Yeah.
threatening because then it's like, oh, you're taking this love away from me. But when we notice that love isn't scarce and it's literally the force that animates everything in our lives, heartbreak and grief stops being a reason to avoid or manage our capacity for love. So basically, the whole idea is that it's about finding love daily because you're already swimming in it. And so dating and seeking partnership and
Yeah.
connection can be an additive instead of a I need to protect myself because if this goes wrong, it's going to hurt and I don't have the capacity for hurt. We have to expand our capacities for healthy, graceful grieving because then that
Mm.
expands our
Yes.
capacity for healthy, expansive loving.
I love healthy, graceful grieving. That's a beautiful turn of phrase. I have so many questions and thoughts. First of all, beautifully stated.
Thank you.
And yeah, just beautifully stated. So, is voluminous love, um, how did you come to this? Like, is this you said it's a spiritual practice. Is this something that one can research and study and become immersed in? Or is this a turn of phrase that you have coined for the internal work you've done over the last couple of years?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, last couple years, last decade. So I think one of the core beliefs that this is based on is is a spiritual belief, which is non-duality, which is
Hmm.
essentially the belief that like all things are one thing. And I'm really clear that this is not a religious belief. There's no, I use the word God, but it's like lowercase g. Like
Yes.
it's like the
And
God of like,
you lap dance for him. So it's
right.
clearly,
I have lots of practices with that concept of a higher power that is actually, I just think of it as the Big Bang, right? Like the
okay.
Big Bang happened, the universe started exploding and unfolding, and everything is made of the same stuff, right? It's all the same
Right.
molecules. We're all made of the same atoms. And Ram Dass has this great line of like, treat everyone like God in drag. And that's
Oh
kind
my
of
gosh.
this approach. Isn't it amazing? We love that guy.
Treat
This
everyone
approach
like,
is
okay.
there, yeah. There's this if you can settle in to, I think of it as science, chemistry, physics,
Yeah.
biology, we're all made of the same stuff. We're all made from the same building blocks.
Yeah.
And so that
Stardust.
concept, stardust, exactly.
Yeah.
And again, it doesn't have to be God, Sky Daddy with a beard. That's not my
Right.
vibe at all. It's just the
And I'm not into
universe. It's,
beards. I figured my
yeah,
Sky Daddy has cool glasses and pretty
perfect,
forearms, but no
perfect.
beards. Yeah.
But when we that kind of core belief of like, oh, all of it is kind of the same soup, like we're just expressions of soup, basically. I see it as that the expansion of the universe, that momentum, that's
Yes.
God. That's what animates everything, and we're all that. So that belief system, that was a spiritual awakening after my emotionally annihilating divorce where I realized, oh God, what's
Oh my
what's
gosh.
left to believe in? And I realized that basically physics is what's left to believe in. Like planets are still spinning,
Yeah.
the sun is still shining. Um, and that's kind of the base of it. Then I come from a family of grief workers. My mom
Oh,
leads grief retreats. And so this concept of grief as a healthy, not just normal and healthy, but actually like something to be celebrated,
yeah.
is very much a part of my family lineage.
I
Um,
didn't,
and
your
it's,
mom, you've told me about your mom over the years, and she sounds so cool. Can I just say,
it's,
like,
the joy of hippie parents is my parents are both very cool people and
yeah.
also super annoying because they're my parents.
Oh my God, that makes sense. That completely checks. Um,
So
yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Here,
I guess the core belief system is everything is one thing and grief is a healthy form of human expression. So those two values um really are what are the base of this philosophy, but then it involves a whole bunch of other, internal family systems and reparenting and shadow work and Jungianism, like codependent recovery stuff, consent stuff. Like
yeah.
I have a whole book brewing from this essay, but
Oh, I love
the
that.
core belief the core belief is just non-duality, that if you can settle into all things are one thing,
Yeah.
it's easier to understand that love is everywhere because love is just what animates all the things. And so, if the worms are wiggling and the leaves are unfolding, hey, look, love. Ta-da.
We question for you. Um, I love the talk that you have around grief being a gift, that grief is letting you know that you love. I have an essay, I've now mentioned it, I think like 5 times on air, so I need to just write it. But it's called All Gen X Dating is Grief.
Yes.
And I think it's true because anyone you meet is grieving something. They either
Yep.
are in acute grief because their marriage has just ended, or they've just lost their spouse, their spouse has
Yep.
just died, or it's chronic grief of like, oh, I haven't had a relationship in a really long time and I want this, or I've never had this in my life. But whatever it is, if you are Gen X aged, if you're 40, 50 something and you are looking for love, you are grieving love at the same time. And you say something really striking here that we haven't gotten worse at connecting, we've gotten worse at tolerating the cost of connection. Do you think midlife makes people more or less willing to tolerate cost?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think it's both. It can be both,
Yeah.
right? I think part of the midlife passage or midlife crisis,
Hmm.
as some of us talk about it, is recognizing, of course, your own mortality as the ultimate grief, right? We're not getting any
Yeah,
younger. Our bodies
we
are
are
starting
not.
to fail. There's only one thing guaranteed in life, and that's that it's ending.
Yeah,
And either we can be cracked open by that and allow it to soften us and shape us and expand us, or we can spend the rest of our lives avoiding it
right.
through pick your favorite dissociative mechanism, right?
Oh, which one's your favorite?
Substances, right? Oh, I know my favorite, and I think you and I share it, which
Oh,
is the dissociative delusional fantasy of analysis as a form of control.
that one's really good. Yeah.
Sorry, girl.
That reson no, no, that totally resonates. Yes.
Yep,
Whatever
that's
makes you
that's my
think
favorite.
that, because we memoirists, essayists can write tens of thousands of words on the subject and
Yep.
pour them out on the internet and be like, there, I've resolved something. Oh my God.
Yeah, no, it's really, I had this huge aha when I realized that the more articulate you are about your own psychology, the easier it is to use that articulation as a way to avoid actually feeling anything. And intellectualizing and
Yes.
analysis can be its own dissociative strategy. And it's a more sophisticated one because we're so sophisticated and smart, but
Yes.
you can narrate your wounds with this clinical precision and still be completely checked out of your body. And what I've tried to
Yes.
recognize when I get into, and this ties to your essay, when I get into a place of anxiety
Yeah.
and analysis and story making, what does it mean? What's the explanation? What are they doing? What
How
am
do
I
I
doing? What's my
avoid this
motivation?
again? Yeah.
Right?
How can I learn from
The
this? Right.
Exactly. The story is usually a distraction from something much simpler happening in your body, like below the neck. And so, what I try to do when I catch myself going into an analytical, ruminatory, story making fantasy, part of it is I'm like, oh, look, I'm fantasizing. Got it. Can I drop the story and say, so like, what's actually happening in my body? What feeling am I trying to avoid in my body right now? Like, this story is a
Ooh,
fantasy. I've used fantasy as a really effective tool to avoid feeling
yes.
something. Are we safe enough that I can actually feel it? And then when
Hmm.
I actually tap in and feel it, it's usually something really simple, like, how am I feeling about this person? And it'll be like, or it'll be like, or it'll be like, ugh. And
Right.
those very simple sensations really tell me everything I need to know. You know what I mean? Like squinched nose means
Yes.
like, ew. Grabby hands means like desire, I want it. Saggy shoulders is fatigue. Um,
Right.
so really the only question is like, does my body want to move towards something or away from something? Is it a softening or a constriction? I don't need to know why. The why is just more story, more fantasy, more dissociation. But when I can tap
Mm.
into let myself actually feel what my body's feeling, my intuition has never let me down.
I
And
love
my
that. And
narratives about my intuition have let me down constantly. My stories, it just
oof,
my narratives turn into these like constant justifications, neurotic loops, me like justifying my own behavior. But the somatic knowing is much faster and simpler. And it's way
right.
harder to argue with yourself than the analysis, which is why we avoid it, right? Because it's just like,
Yes.
oh, I'm not attracted to this person. It doesn't matter why. I should probably not continue to prioritize time with them. Okay.
Okay. And two thoughts are coming to mind for that. One is I think some of this is possible because we are older and have done the work. Because sometimes the reason you get that ick and the reason you're turned off by certain men, if you're a woman dating men, isn't healthy. And you do need to do the analysis earlier sometimes in life of like, oh, when someone makes me feel really secure and is really kind to me, it's a turn off because I see it as no spark.
Yep,
That's unhealthy.
absolutely.
And so you
Yep,
do need to, I do want to like put that out there. Like sometimes you have to do the like, why am I feeling this way and question yourself. But I do agree you can get in these, it's not a ludic loop, but a cognitive spin out if
yep,
you're like the why, the why, the why. And this does tie back a bit to my essay. The second point that came to mind for this is I give a Spanish lesson in my essay, which I love writing a piece where it goes on these weird turns and I'm like, bear with me, we're getting back to a place.
yep, yep.
Did you take Spanish in school?
I took Spanish for 1 year my senior year. So there's
Okay.
just a very little from the early 90s
So
hiding back there
you
in a
may remember
fold
this
somewhere.
nugget, or if you read it in the essay, I talk about how in English we only have one verb for to be. It's just is our, and in Spanish we have ser and estar. They both mean to be, but they mean different things to a Spanish speaker. And simply put, estar is a temporary state, something that's flowing through you. I feel anxious, I feel happy, I feel excited. Where ser is your identity. I am tall, I am a woman, things that are permanent and are not going to shift. I think that maybe they argue the nuance because I was just thinking about things that are sort of permanent, sometimes gender, we can shift. We won't get into all the nuance. At its core, it's what you are feeling temporarily versus who you are as your identity.
Yep,
And in dating, when we start talking about this discourse I'm hearing around avoidant versus anxious attachment, that is the sense of control and not letting go to voluminous love. What that is doing is women hyper analyzing and going through, I can fix it, I can fix it, I can fix it if I can think my way through it.
yep,
And it's my anxious attachment that's keeping me from having this happy relationship. When I argue, don't lean into some people legit are, they have, they're not securely attached. They need to do the work. But most of us are probably feeling anxiety. We don't have anxious attachment. Esthar versus ser, right?
yeah,
And if you
yeah,
are leaning into your esthar, if you're leaning into this temporary sense, then you're getting the feeling as signal. You're living in your body and you're like, why am I anxious around this person?
yep,
Like, listen to that feeling because it's informational, it's signal.
exactly. Yep.
Um, I feel like that may be the tie between our essays that are really very different approaches to dating, which is bringing me to my next question for you. Of like, we've known each other a long time, and yeah, we were married around the same time. We had our kids around the same time, which is awesome to have this common history. Seattle is 100 people, and we all know each other.
Totally.
Um, and I know we are similar enough that I am curious, like, so does it work when you are like really into someone and your gut, you're tapping in and you're like, oh, this isn't he's pulling away, like something I want is being taken from me. How in the moment of heartaching and the like ow of that, do you stay connected to this voluminous sense of love?
Yeah.
Strategies.
Yes.
So I
Yeah.
need
No,
them.
it's a great question. I talk about this in the essay that loneliness, which is that feeling of separation, is, I think for many of us, but especially for the romantics in the room, that is our crucible. That
Yeah.
is the worst pain. It is, I say as someone who's gone through other forms of intense physical pain, of
Yeah.
career pain, somehow heartbreak and loneliness is the most acute pain. And I think of it as mammalian. This is not even just a human experience. This is a mammalian
Oh,
experience of this is how baby mammals stay alive is we have to stay connected. And so when we lose
oh,
connection,
I love
even here
that.
in our 50s, there's part of us that's like a little, hairless pink baby mouse dying in a field somewhere because we can't find our mother. So I think first
Oh,
is depersonalizing it and saying this acute pain is
Yes.
part of being a mammal. And then
Hmm.
for me, because part of my spiritual belief system is that we are inherently part of everything. We couldn't escape the love of everything, even if we wanted to. Even if you die, the molecules in your body become the molecules in the dirt, become the molecules in the worms, become the molecules in the trees. So, like, you can't opt out of being part of this universal system of energy recycling. Even if
Yeah.
you wanted to, you can't. And so that loneliness, that like acute, oh, in the chest, oh,
Yes.
that feeling is actually a call from whatever you want to call it, nature, the universe, God,
God,
yourself,
your higher
saying like,
power.
hey, did you forget? Did you forget that this other human isn't your higher power, that actually you're part of this massive universal system, unfathomably large? How could you ever be alone? The gravity is pulling you towards the earth. The sun is shining, like it's this anchoring using the cue of the pain because it fucking hurts. You don't get to avoid the pain. You don't get to dissociate from the pain. It
Yeah.
fucking hurts. And remembering that's actually like a little knock on the window of your nervous system from the everything that you're eternally connected to, being like, bitch, you forgot about me. Come home. Like, come back.
Ariel, Ariel,
Relax.
the next time my heart gets stomped, I'm completely calling you and I'm like, Ariel, I need a pep talk. We're going out right now. I need you to remind me that I'm connected to the eternal, and this heartache is a reminder from my universal power that I'm
Yeah. Well,
part of
and
the
I
world
really
and I'm
want
going
to
to turn into
emphasize
worms. It does, none of it
that
matters.
it doesn't mean that you don't feel that pain. It's that
Right.
you understand that pain, that grief and love aren't two sides of a coin, right? That's how a lot of people talk about it, is
Yeah.
like, oh, the cost of loving is grieving, or
Yes.
this, like, it's the two opposites. It's not a flat surface, it's a sphere. It's the same
Oh my
thing.
God.
Love is grief. The feeling of heartbreak is the feeling of love. We just get a little tangled and think that it's the feeling of that specific person, but that person is just a portal. It might be my favorite portal, don't get me wrong, but that
Right.
person is just one of many access points that we have to remembering, like, we are extremely connected to everything all the time. And again, we couldn't even get out of it if we wanted to. Not only are we disconnected, it's like
Yeah.
cloying. Like, you can't fall off the planet. We're all part
Right.
of this ecosystem and universal flow. So feel the heartbreak, but know
Oh my
that that
gosh.
is the sensation of love.
So interesting. I have so many questions written down over here because your essay is long and made me pop off into so many different thoughts because obviously I'm stewing in this now. I've been writing on the topic of dating as a Gen X woman. I have been revisiting my old essays as I'm sharing them to I Write Out Loud. So it's all very current. And this is a way, like, so much of the way I have protected myself, again, is through a system of vigilance and access, right? So, are you familiar with the burned haystack dating method? Do you know what that is?
No.
Um, no. Oh my gosh. Okay. Her book is coming out April 7th. So and the essay I'm going to post later today is an older one that is my first nod to it. So here's what this is. It is a huge phenomenon on social media, started by a woman named Jenny Young, who is on Substack and is a PhD in rhetoric. And she's about our age. She was dating years ago and getting very frustrated. And the dating advice that's online, influencers and the dating coaches, you can pay all kinds of money, usually advise women like, um, give him a chance, open the door, like, here's how you keep a conversation going. Like, there are all of these tactics we're given, that are like, don't rule out, rule in. Try to make it work because frankly, there are more amazing single Gen X women than there are men. there's a numbers thing, right? And she was just getting really burned out and frustrated. And so in the moment of frustration, she Googled, how do I find a needle in a haystack? And this is the lore anyhow. The response came back, you have to burn all the hay. The only
Mm,
way to actually find the needle is not digging through all the hay is not efficient. If you light the haystack on fire, in the end, all that's left is the metal and you will find the needle.
beautiful
Um,
imagery.
isn't it? And so the way you burn the haystack by her method is she is a professor of rhetoric. And so she has her philosophy is the opposite, that here are, she has, I don't even know how many, 50 maybe rhetorical patterns at this point of like, if you see these patterns in their profiles or when they are first writing to you, you block to burn. You block them on the app. You don't have to say anything to them. You do not waste your energy. And the whole premise is for women seeking monogamous partnership. So
Right.
the rules are
With
different than
men.
other with men. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, mostly. And so she does. Non-binary people are allowed to join too, but it's
Okay.
primarily for women.
Got
And
it.
her premise is um, you may not find someone this way, but you are protecting your peace this way. Do not let online dating become the time and energy suck. And also protect yourself. So she has patterns like the one I wrote about is called test and apologize. So that's the rhetorical pattern is the man will say something off color, generally something sexual.
Mm,
And then if you say, I don't like that comment, he'll be like, oh, I'm sorry, I was just joking, or he'll apologize. And she's like, the test is always real and the apology never is. Someone who is displaying that pattern is going to not be a healthy person to date.
mm,
So it's hyper vigilance
right.
at like
Right.
the nerdiest of rhetorical levels. And disciplinary directive is a bit one when in his profile, he's telling you what to do. You need to do this and write me for this reason. There's the I'm the prize pattern, the man who's like, I golf every weekend and I'm very financially secure and maybe you can keep up with me. Like so I'm digging in a little bit deep, but to say this was something that really helped me in early dating, be like, don't give chances. Your time and your energy are precious. And I talked about that for so long that I forgot my initial question, but y- uh, hold on, I'm coming back here to find my question of how do you reconcile wanting to be open? Actually, let me pause on that for a minute. The kind of love you're describing with this voluminous love to me feels not like early dating, especially early online dating, right? Where a lot of the essay that I'm writing, I'm talking about this idea of commit bombing, right? This term that I've coined, which is when a man comes in and like right away is like, I've taken down the apps, I want to be with you. And it is not done with good intent. It's done to gain premature access to your body, to your emotional intelligence, and then it pulls back really quickly. How do you stay connected to a sense of voluminous love? And also, what does it look like in practice when someone is demonstrating this kind of inconsistency or avoidance or outright acting in bad faith, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what I've seen time and time again.
Yeah.
Um, I'm going to pause
Yeah.
there. I have another question, but in fact, I'm going to make a
Yeah.
note so I don't forget it while you answer.
I think the first issue, and many of us know this and just do the best we can with it anyway. The first issue is that dating apps and
Yeah,
online dating is algorithmically built to keep you looping. The
that's the
systems
ludic loop. Yeah.
themselves are flawed. So when we talk
Yes.
about all these rules and structures and strategies, it's
Mhm.
it's all of us doing the best we can with an inherently flawed system that is incentivized to keep you
Yeah.
frustrated.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I think that part of it, in the same way that is the anxiety that I'm feeling because I'm anxiously attached, or is it because of
Yeah.
this other person's behavior? We can also say, is the necessity of all these strategies and rules and vigilance something I need because this system is incentivized to keep me single? or does this actually get me somewhere? So I think the
Yeah.
bigger question is, um, does this system of online dating, does it work? Do you like how it feels using it? Does it get you where you want to go? Right.
Yeah.
So that's a bigger issue. Now for me, I treat online dating as a press release. There's my profile. It lets people know I'm single. And then if they see me in real life, they can talk to me knowing that I'm single. I can't use
Really?
the apps. They kill me. It feels terrible. And when I make choices about how to spend time in my life, I don't believe in suffering. I don't think you get pleasure out of suffering. Well,
Wow.
unless you're
So
doing certain things. But
that's
when it
another
comes to
episode,
like
Ariel.
you don't get there from here. Like if you
Right.
have to go through this system that is in financially incentivized to keep you unhappy, are you going to find happiness through it? I don't know. So I use it as just a press release. Like, oh, there's my
Wait,
profile. You can see that I'm single. And then like I just like to be out in the world talking to people.
that's amazing. So you post your profile, and in doing so, like you are well known enough that people are like, "Hey, girl, what's up?" In real life. Eh,
I can only say that it has worked for me with people who meet me in the real world saying, "Oh, wait, I think I saw that lady on an app."
That has
But
never.
that does involve putting yourself out into the world a lot, a lot, a lot.
I know. I have had this. This always comes up when I write stories about dating because it always involves the apps. Just about every single man I've ever dated for any length of time or any sort of intensity, I met through an app all the way back to the stranger personals in the 90s. And people will say like, you should meet people out and about. And I'm like, it literally almost never happens. So I'm kind of in awe that you're like, I just released that I'm available and they come flocking.
They
Like,
don't come flocking. I have to talk to everyone. I talk to everyone all the time. I'm a
yeah,
one woman campaign against the Seattle freeze. I just don't believe it's true because I don't experience it as true. I'm like, I like talking to people, so I'll
same.
just be talking to people.
I
Um,
100%. We are the antifreeze to the Seattle
yep,
freeze. I
yep,
mean, I built an entire community, well, co-built an entire community around music and live shows and like to me,
yep,
Seattle has always been very warm and welcoming. And I know you had a similar scene, but with a different community, with the rave and dance
yeah,
community that you've
yep,
grown up
yep.
in, right? You're still going to events, just like I'm still going to shows
Yeah, I'm
sometimes.
a big dancer. Although these days I've aged into the ecstatic dance community. So now I'm more
Yes.
like noodling around. I'm a day dancer at this point. I don't do
Uh,
nightlife anymore, darling.
I would
Um,
love to do that with you sometime because I love dancing, and I have a 7 a.m. podcast now, even though I'm a night owl. So my capacity for nights is dwindling. Like I think last night we got back at like 11:30, and I'm like, oof, I can feel it. That alarm was early this morning. Let me tell you.
yep, yep,
Um, can I tell you a funny aside because this was so anti-Seattle freeze? There's a karaoke bar in my neighborhood that I love, and it's like the shittiest little Chinese restaurant that's also a karaoke bar. And so you can eat like the most mediocre Chinese food of all time, that's still like delightfully American mediocre Chinese food and sing. Um, and it is like a page out of time. It's super divey. The people there are characters. And the guy who was hosting last night was new to me. And I went up and was like, "Do you have a QR code to scan or the slips of paper?" And he's like, "No, no, go sit down. I do table service." He
oh
walks
wow.
around and he asks you what song, just your first song, and he makes the rotation. And then when the rotation is done, he comes back around table service style and asks you what you want to sing. And
Amazing.
he comes up and asks just you, one person, and then he runs back to the machine and puts it in, and then he comes back to the next person. Like he doesn't even take an order and write them down and go put them all in at once, which would be more efficient. And I was like, you are gloriously inefficient and human, and I love you. I love this
Yes, yes.
experience.
Yeah, I think that's part of focusing on people in person instead of shopping for people on an app. I say, as someone who's also used the internet for dating since the 90s. My first internet date was 1992. I
Oh my
was on a
gosh.
BBS, and I came
Oh
from Bay
my
Ridge
gosh.
Island into Seattle to go to the free Pearl Jam show at Magnuson Park with a boy I met on the BBS. So like 30, what is that? 30, almost 35 years of internet dating. And I'm here to say our bodies can recognize patterns with people in
Yes.
person instantly. All the strategies, all the like rhetoric, if they say this, do
Yes.
that, did it, get it in person, and it's all resolved within 30 seconds. You know, immediately, does your body want to move forward towards this person or away from this person? So yes, it's slower because you have to actually leave your house and go talk to people, but it's also so much faster because you can discern things that you just cannot discern, or that it takes, like, it becomes a job interview cycle and you need a Notion database to track all the different people and all the different problems each person has. So
I need a CRM database to keep track of my dating options.
exactly. I mean,
You
and I
just
think
touched
that's,
on,
oh, go ahead.
oh, no, you finish first. This is very
Well, I
Seattle.
was
No,
gonna
you
say,
go. No, you go.
it's it's part of like this voluminous love practice is saying,
Yeah.
especially if I'm not shopping for people on an app, I have no control over when I meet a lover or a potential companion.
Yeah.
It might take longer than it would when I can pop open an app and scroll through 400 people in an hour. But when I do this discipline of daily loving, which is basically what this is a daily loving and
Yes.
daily grieving practice, it ensures that I'm feeling love every day, which is ultimately, again, I think for all of us who are dating or seeking companionship,
Yeah.
that's what we want. Like, what's the real
Yes.
goal? I want to feel connected and in love every day. And
Yes. And the sex
the
is really a nice byproduct too.
that is a really great byproduct as well. And that's where kind of like faith and trust that like there will be other bodies that I get to. I mean, this is where
I love
that Ram
this.
Dass, that Ram Dass imagery of like treat
Yeah.
everyone like God in drag. It means
Hmm.
that sex for me is just God masturbating with itself through us. That's why it feels so good. It's just like infinite hands, infinite bodies. God's like,
Oh
yeah,
my, oh my
mix
God.
it
That's
together.
so blasphemous. That's so
It is.
blasphemous.
It
I
is.
love it.
So that's why it
We-
feels so good. Is God just
Yeah.
loves fucking getting off and using us as its favorite toys. So yes to
We have to
that.
clip that and like get a lot of people really mad. Your
Yeah,
apartment
I
right now is so the light coming in the backdrop. It's tiny on my phone screen, but it's so pretty.
thank
I'm
you.
I'm coveting your backdrop instead of my weird light here. A couple of thoughts, and I'm trying. There's two, and I know we're running out of time. You said something before about the big, how heartache is the most painful grief,
Yes, yes,
and it is. And I would offer something up here, and I would love your comment on this. For me, the biggest grief, or maybe it's a co-big grief. The biggest grief isn't the heartache, it's the loss of trust in self, which is
yes,
why
yes,
I need
yes,
this protection. Because you saying when you meet in person, you can know so much more. I agree. And also, um, people can act in bad faith. Men, because I'm dating men, have acted in pretty bad faith in ways that I think I am discerning. I think I have a good gut and a good intellect, and I have been wrong. And when you've been wrong enough times and that pattern recognition starts coming in, there is sort of I don't want to use PTSD lightly, but there is a chronic trauma response to like, oh my God, I was wrong again and I can't trust my gut.
yes,
Help me
yes,
tap
yes,
into voluminous love so I can let that
yeah,
feeling go of like, I don't like feeling tricked.
yes, yes, yeah. I had a teacher years ago, an author named Jet Saris, who I love. She wrote an amazing book about midlife crisis called Hidden
Okay.
Blessings. So good.
Yeah.
Where I was talking about trust and how I had trusted a person, I trusted them to drive, and then they drove the relationship off a cliff. And so now I couldn't access trust anymore because, hey, Jet,
Yes.
look, I tried trusting, I trusted them and they drove off a cliff. And she said, trust isn't about the other person's behavior. That's control. Trust is, and this gets to what you're saying, trust is
Yes.
you trust yourself to know not that the other person is going to act a certain way because they're human, and they're not. Humans are fallible. Humans are
Okay.
fundamentally untrustworthy, not because we're bad, but just because we're human and out of each other's control. But what the
Okay.
trust is knowing you have the capacity, the resilience, and the skill to handle it no matter what happens. So it's not, I need to trust the other person to act right, or I need to trust myself to always perfectly control my exposure to people who behave
Yeah.
correctly. It's, I have a lifetime of knowing that I am resilient, capable. I know how to feel my feelings, rebuild. I've been through some shit. I've burned down a few times, and I can see that I'm always able to build back up. So I can retain a sense of trust in myself, not
Ah,
because I know this person isn't going to drive off a cliff, because they might, or they might not drive off a cliff. They might be perfect and then have the audacity to get sick and die. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
even if in your case, men are more trustworthy, ultimately, even the most trustworthy man is going to die.
Mm-hmm.
And the issue isn't, can
What's
you
the
trust yourself
point?
to find a perfect man who's never going to disappoint you, who's never going to betray you, who's never going to die? But can you build trust in your capacity to handle it no matter what happens? So that's less of a, I don't
Yeah.
trust myself to make good decisions, and more of a, I trust myself to make decisions knowing I don't have control over the outcome, and trusting that I can handle the
Yes.
outcome, whatever it may be, that I can pick myself up, that I
We
have
only,
that
yeah.
I've practiced grief enough times that if this person drives off a cliff, I can stand up out of the wreckage of that car and be like, damn, that was fucked up. I'm going to patch
Yep.
up my wounds and go cry a bunch, and then
Yes.
do what I've always done, which is resiliently build.
Sorry, I think did my camera just go off? Yeah, sorry about
There
that. I
you
was
are. Yeah, I was like,
adjusting
oh,
my phone and I clicked the side button.
I
Uh,
trust
n-
you, Dana.
oh, I trust you too, Ariel, but I might disappear anytime because
At any time,
we're
and
all
that's okay.
fallible.
We're
What's
all
even the point?
fallible.
One, I know we're right getting close to the top of the hour, but one point you made in this essay that I think makes this such a Gen X essay is the container in which you're able to have these views about partnership at this
Yeah.
stage in life, and what's required because of what you are not seeking versus
Yes.
when we were both younger, when you're looking for the partner you're going to build a life with. Can you speak to that a bit? And
Yes. Yes.
because it is super relevant, I think, because I think we've got folks of all ages here in the conversation.
Exactly, exactly. Well, I think the concept of living big and grieving well is applicable to everyone. I'm
Yes.
aware that because I'm someone who has my own financial independence through my own work, I have a home that I live in. I've already had the child that I'm going to have. I'm not using love as a way to audition someone to build a life with. At this phase in my life, love and partnership is more of an emotional and spiritual experience for me. I'm not looking for someone to pay my mortgage. I'm not looking for someone to be a capable parent. Um, and that is very specific to this phase of life. I feel like it's also specific to menopause. Like, my goals are different, my needs are different. And I wanted to make sure, I have a friend in her late 30s who is looking at her ticking biological clock and very
Yes.
motivated to find a partner to start a family with. And
Yes.
the way she approaches love and loving is going to be structurally different than me in my almost an empty nester, 50%
Yes.
co-parenting, financially independent. I have a stable home. So when I say, like, love someone voluminously and go all in, I'm not saying move across the country, have a baby. You know what I mean? Like that,
Right.
it's a different thing when we're talking about midlife having your structures kind of
Yes,
established
your
is a
pillars are,
privilege.
it
It's
is. And
your pillars are there, and that
yes,
is a privilege to come into relationship with. So I don't want to pretend. I talk a little bit in the essay about like what this is not. And
yeah,
this isn't about fucking everybody. It's not even about sex specifically. This isn't about acting out of integrity. This does require having a core framework of selfhood that for many of us we don't find our way to until midlife, if we're lucky. If we're lucky. It's
absolutely. Here's a question for you. Do you want a partner who becomes a pillar of your life still? Like, if you met the right person, would you be like, yeah, let's merge our homes and make, whatever years we're lucky enough to have left here on this spinning orb, let's plan together? Like, are you seeking that still? Or are you
yeah,
like,
yeah,
nah, I just want
yeah.
fun?
Yeah, no, I am wired for commitment and partnership and companionship. I don't
Oh,
know that
same.
that looks like legal marriage, merging finances, or living together. Like my
Yeah.
my dream is like one of us has a home in the country, one of us has a pied a terre in the city. We spend time together, we spend time apart. We're both individuated people with our own interests, but we love
Yes.
learning together. I think that's my big goal for like, what I hope will be the love of the second half of my life is someone who really wants to do learning. Like just let's
Yes.
learn. We're not going to make babies.
We're
You
not going to
know,
make babies.
we're not gonna I have no desire to have the state involved with my relationships anymore at this point. Like I have no need to get legally married or merge finances. Like I want this to be an emotional, spiritual, intellectual intimacy. I don't need it to be even a domestic. Like it's nice to have your
It
and it
is.
allows me to love someone more voluminously when I'm not
Yeah.
bitching at them about taking out the trash. Like
You
you can
know,
do with your own trash.
here's my thought on that, because I feel like by our ages, a lot of people have hit that point. And I feel like I've been saying this a lot lately, but I have an essay started about this. I'm sure you've heard about lat
Oh yeah,
relationships, living
love
alone
it.
together.
I
I
lived
love,
it for 3 years. It was great.
yes. So lat stands for living alone together, for those who may not know what that stands for. And it means you are just what Ariel just described. You are partnered, you are committed, but you don't live together, you don't merge your finances, and you don't health kind of gets into it. I feel like lat is a pretty boomer term, or at least that's who's doing it now, because it tends to be older people and they don't want to be on point to become each other's nurses, or one become the nurse for the other if someone gets sick. Excuse me, my mom is in a lat relationship. They work really well. Here's what I would postulate. I'm one of the weirdos who still would like a partner who feels like home, and is literally part of my home. I mean, my marriage ended 14 years ago, and I have not had an integrated partnership since. And I've had, my kids this whole time. I always imagined that there would be another domestic partner. And so what I've started calling the relationships I have been in, they are flat, not lat, but flat relationships, families living alone together. And it's this
Mm,
really non-integrated experience where you have your kids, I have my kids, we see each other a couple nights a week. And it's great because it does keep that sexy dating, fun energy. Like,
yeah.
I don't know what you're like in the mornings, and how you sort your socks in the laundry, and how you squeeze your toothpaste tube. Like, you don't get into all of those fights, and totally see the beauty in that, and could see myself in a lifelong relationship like that should one come. But there's still part of me that's like, it's too lightweight. Like, um, I want, I always wanted someone who would, I don't need another parent for my kid, but someone who was vested and was part of my life. And also the um the added pillar of like, wow, we're a two income home. If one of us goes down, the other one is there. Like, I haven't had that pillar in so many years. I think I'm an oddball who still wants it instead of a flat relationship. So
I don't think it's odd at all. I mean, I think
yeah,
that's you want something, I would call that more normal, normal. Like you want a
right.
more traditional, whether it's a legal marriage or not, you
Yeah, but
want
I feel like
domestic
it's not
partnership.
normal for Gen Xers, and it's not normal in part because um, for our parents, people who were older, they when they divorced, a lot of times, not your family but mine, they blew up the bridge behind them, right? So
Right.
parenting plans were like, I drop off in front of the house and I don't ever want to see your mother again, you know. So
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
they very much remarried, right? They repartnered, remarried. Both of my parents did pretty quickly because that was the basis of how life worked. We
Yeah.
Gen Xers were like, oh, I still travel with my ex. We're still friends. We co-parent. And so
My ex
part,
lives on the other side of this wall.
I know, that's wild. Um, Mine, we have lightly, because I have a basement apartment that I usually rent out that's been empty for a while. And like, we have halfway considered, like, maybe we should, while we're paying for kids' college, move, you know, have you, and part of me is like, that's a great idea. And the other part of me is like, do not do that. Um, But my theory that would be part of this article is it's so wonderful that we're able to keep the voluminous love includes our exes who we don't love romantically the
Yep.
same, it's not a marriage connection anymore, but there's still a familial love and a friendship love. But it blurs the boundaries and it makes it really hard to form that like that next domestic relationship. I know very few people our age who left the marriage where they had kids and went on and formed another marriage where they're co-parenting and that's a domestic partnership like you're talking about. Do you know many? Because most people I
Yeah.
know either
Yeah,
stayed
I do.
single or they have flat or lat relationships.
No, I know some folks who've merged families
Yeah,
and
I know
blended
some.
families and yeah,
Yeah,
step parenting. And I think that might be
yeah.
some Seattle bubble stuff a little bit too. We definitely have our own cultural norms.
We do,
Um,
we do.
yeah.
Um, but I feel like voluminous love is part of that, of like it does become this weird thing of hey, let's be together. And also like my ex is here and is very much part of my life and it's a good thing. And oh,
Yep.
your ex is right there and that's a great thing.
Yep.
um but I do wonder sometimes if it keeps us from forming deeper partnerships. I don't know, that will have to be a
Yeah, I
conversation for
don't.
another day.
That'll be another a conversation for another day. I think of my ex as sort of like a cousin, so I don't see it as really like sort of a family member, like a long-term
Yeah,
family member who like we have history and we
yeah.
share family and we love the same person, but like, I wouldn't see a cousin as interfering with my ability to get into a relationship. Anyway,
Yeah,
I know we're out of time. That's a whole
we
nother,
are.
that's
It's
a whole
more the
nother time.
stability part of it, of like they are still providing a pillar of support
Mm,
that is life partner-ish, right?
mm,
And it
mm.
is more like family than it is romantic, but
Yeah,
like when one of us has been hurt or is ill and has to go to the emergency room, like we call each other. We of course do
yeah,
it when it's a child, you know, the rare occasions when that's happened, knock on wood that stays rare, but you know, when he broke his shoulder, I took him to the emergency room. But
yeah,
it's like, of course I'm going to do that. You're my family.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
if you don't have that pillar in your life, perhaps you are more likely to look for a partner who
I
would do
don't
this
buy
with
it. I
you.
think we
No,
need as many pillars as possible, and
yeah,
having a pillar doesn't negate having multiple pillars. I'm always,
I like that.
whenever a story runs scarce, I'm always like, why is it a
Yeah.
zero sum economy though? Like, why is there? I just don't. I always believe in questioning a scarcity story. There's not enough men. There's not enough love. If there's this love in my life, I won't get other love in my life. Like there is a finite amount of time, but I think
Yes.
love is actually generative. And the more there is, the more there is.
Oh my God, I love that. That's beautiful. And I'm going to end this with this is like I think you made this reel before reels were called reels, but I remember years ago watching a video on social media of you, and you were talking about making morning tea, which I do every morning. I'm a tea drinker, as I know you are, and that you were talking about setting up your kettle so that your mug was there in the morning with the teacup in it and the water was full. And you were like, and someone is making sure my morning is going to be wonderful and full of love. And that someone is me. That
Yep.
you did it for yourself. And I think about that all the time still because I don't always remember to do it the night before, but I'm so happy when I do. And all I
Yep.
have to do
Yep.
is press on. And
Yep.
I'm like, I love me. And I made sure this was ready for me. And
Yeah.
I think of you, Ariel.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way with meal prep now, where I'm like, I love
Yeah,
opening the fridge and saying, damn, I'm hungry. I wish somebody who loved me had anticipated my needs and made me some food. Oh,
I
so
did.
good. And it's me. So, I'm a big fan of if there's a sensation that you want out of relationship, get more of that sensation in your life. And then
Yes.
when a relationship shows up, it gets to be additive instead of I had a paucity, I had a lack, I had a scarcity of care in my life, and
Yes.
now I have it, and now I have to hold it really tight because I can't lose it. It's like have, love is everywhere, enjoy it every day, and then when
Oh,
it shows up in human form, you get to enjoy it even more because you know that if that human form leaves or changes or dies or
right.
betrays you, you still have the tea waiting for you in the morning and the plants blooming in your bedroom. So, yeah, more
Yeah.
of it, more love. Rules are good too, but more love and more healthy grieving.
Oh my gosh. Plus one to everything you just said. Thank you for being here, Ariel. This was so fun. Thank you to everyone in the chat for your active, delightful conversation. Oh, the chat froze on me. Let me hit refresh here so I can say oh, there's way more people here than it said before. um, I'm
I
typing
don't
in
have
there.
the
Thanks.
chat. I don't have the chat open. So if anyone has questions for me that I didn't get to see, please just hit me up on Instagram. I'm Ariel M. Stallings over there.
And go follow Ariel on Beehive if you are on Beehive. Go read her new essay. It's amazing, as is everything you write. You're so
Thanks,
talented.
Vivian.
We will definitely do it again, and perhaps next time with Lawrence. We'll get the band back together, the old Jobster band.
Sounds great.
Oh my gosh.
Sounds
Love
great.
you, mean it. Thanks to everyone for being here. And please join us tomorrow on the Daily Whatever Show for Fucked Up Friday with Grounded Podcast. It's going to be a really good one. So hope to see you all there as well. Mwah. Bye,
Mwah, see
all.
you on the internet, everyone.
See you
Bye.
on the internet. Bye.
Okay, great.